Okay, this is a final antenna, homemade, oh my God, antenna. And for those who fish at all, you may recognize this. This is what is known as a Japanese Tenkara collapsible carbon fiber fishing pole. It is 24 feet long. And what I've done is taken the center feed out that had the little place where you would tie your fly line to it, and have fed that copper line into it. Now, when I was trying to originally do this, sorry, this is a pain in the, So what I'm thinking is I'm going to try to do it a little bit smarter and tie the end. You pop this off, and the antenna starts coming out, telescoping out. It's probably not in focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this, turn it around, and see if I can't do this a little bit smarter so it's not all wadded up and just making me want to, damage things. Be right back. Okay, so what I'm going to attempt to do here is it kind of unfolds rapidly by itself. Not a whole bunch of user input needed. See if I can't get the tip of it out. There it is. And leave the rod there. And see if I can wedge it into something like this. See if I can't wedge it into this little step ladder. And then kind of go backwards and make sure that the antenna isn't all twisted, which, obviously is. See if I can undo that. Sometimes this is worse than a air knife on your fishing rod. So what you may not be able to see is as I'm pulling it backwards, the rod backwards, it's extending the cable with it as it's going that way, and it's pulling the cable in through the butt of the deal. Let me see if I can maybe get a little bit more distance here. And again, this is going to be a simple vertical antenna, end-fed, and again, this is for listening only at this point. However, that's not to say at some point that this thing probably could take, 10, 20 watts of power, something massive like that, earth-shattering. And sometimes trying to figure out which way this thing is twisted is, if you figure that out, you're ahead of the game. So, okay, so I've wrapped it around the doorknob, the end of the wire. Let me see if I can get this thing completely extended out, and so you can get a feel for how long this thing is. And again, it's a version of a Japanese fly rod, 24 feet long. And I'll walk you down to, I believe it's carbon fiber, it's what they said it was. Let me turn this thing around. So, I don't know if you can see the extra cable, but I did leave quite a bit so it could be connected. And this would be just ran straight up in the air as a vertical antenna. And once you've pulled it all out and extended it completely, you can see where the cable is going right down the center of the tube, or the rod. Let me see if I can get this snubbed up so it's no longer just dangling out like that. I'll be right back. Okay, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see, that wrong way. There's the cable, coil, you know, the extra cable to bring over to an SDR or jump into a piece of coax. And obviously one would have to be into a ground, and then this would go into the center connector of the coax. Let's see if get a feel for how long that sucker is. Yeah, so that's a 24-foot carbon fiber fiberglass, or carbon fiber fly rod, Tenkara fly rod, with a I don't know, it's a fine piece of copper braided wire going up through the center, right up through the butt of it. And then what I'll do is I'll just mount it to something so to hold it vertical, and it wouldn't ground it out, and obviously up off the ground itself. Back up a little bit, so it wouldn't ground itself out, and you've got yourself quite the little vertical antenna. You know, basically run it like an end-fed long wire, but in a vertical position. Looks like it's probably 30 feet, so it's pretty close to a quarter wave antenna. I forget what that band is, but anyways, again, for listening, that's not a bad deal. And with Amazon points and using my Amazon credit card, I think I paid $7, including shipping for that. I had the cable, so this is just another version of a really long vertical to get it up in the air. And carbon fiber, it's strong. And again, if you do this, you definitely need to make it so that you can get a hold of that end of the wire after you take it, you know, lay it down on the ground. Somehow tie a string to that wire, the end of the wire there. It's just knotted real big so it doesn't go, it won't feed through the smallest tube there. Get a hold of that, and then get a hold of the end of the cable here. Where is it? There. And get those tied off like in a, like you're gonna have like a dipole or a long wire. And then once you've got those tied off and taut, then just collapse the antenna and pull the extra, you know, push the antenna up towards that end and collapse it, get it all collapsed. And then all the extra wire is coming out the butt of the thing, and just wrap it around the butt, and it's bada bing. The first time I tried to do it, I tried to keep collapsing it, and what happens as soon as you pull on it and you break the lock where the tension or the friction holding those things together, it starts falling, and then this cable gets all kinked up, and it's just a 3-star cluster, you know what. So let me get this thing laid out again, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, the only thing I did, I just kind of looped it a couple times around the doorknob, went over there again, and just if I just moved it a little bit, it'd come undone. And you can see it's got the enough tension on the wire that the antenna or the fishing pole itself is swinging. And then you can start, let me see. It's kind of hard to do it. You got to kind of feel for where the connection is. And just kind of get it to start collapsing in on itself. And again, the magic is don't let it start binding up your cable. Let me get this put back together and I'll be right back. Okay, once you get it to the point where sorry about the lean, once you've got the antenna collapsed, okay, all the wire should be laying out here on the ground in a nice little tangled mess, unless you're smart and kept enough tension on it. So the first thing I would do is, to keep it from turning into a cluster, put the cork back in the end of it. Now, with this thing sealed at this end and the wire just coming through the butt like that. Now there was a ring there, like a swivel snap ring, and I just took it off and the wire fed right through it. So then I would just take it and get a length of it on there like that, hold on to it, and then just start winding it around the butt, the hilt of the fishing pole. Okay, it's all wound back up around the end. The hilt of the Tenkara, and there's a couple of spots there that had kinks in it that when I do this, deploy it again, I'm going to have to make sure that those kinks aren't there. This is relatively fine braided wire. It wouldn't take too many times of messing with it to break it. And the problem is that the tip at the end is such a small diameter opening for the wire to go through. This is about the only wire I have that'll fit through there, that I have any type of length of. So just attention to detail. Don't let it get like wind knots in it, and coil it up softly in, deploy it out softly out, and you should have no problems. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, or if you could give you any ideas on making a Tenkara vertical in-fed or a vertical antenna, give me a like. Think about subscribing to the Old Dude's YouTube channel, and thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out my stuff. Be blessed.